Hey guys, welcome back to Senegalese Twisted. Today I'm back again with another review on Maîtresse and Marié, and today we're gonna talk about season 2 episode 9. And oh my god, let's get just right into it. Episode 9 starts with Mustafa being in the studio, and he gets a call from Rocky, but because he's in the studio he cannot hear his phone. But Delia actually sees his phone, sees who's calling, and she hides the phone in the couch. So when he comes out of the studio, he's asking for his phone, and she's like, no, you didn't bring your phone today. So that was really shady. So the next scene is Merjang, Lalle and Noura. And I believe that Merjang is asking Noura like what happened, and Noura's like, well, Tata Mariam came back. And Lalle is like, you see that she's really down. And then Merjang is actually telling Lalle that, you know what, if I had known that Mariam was back, I would not have told you because of the state you're in, meaning that you're about to pop a child and she does not want it to come before it's due. And I think she's also asking Lalle like, why are you a pussy? She's a woman just like you. You don't have anything to be afraid of. I actually defended you. And Lalle is like admitting to Merjang that she is the one that published all the videos and all the pictures. So, and I was actually shocked at Merjang's reaction, because Merjang was like, well, why didn't you call Al Jazeera, CNN, France 24, and all these other channels? And I was like, well, Merjang. And she was actually admitting that, you know what, if it was me, I would make sure that the whole news station would be there and this and that. And I was like, well, Merjang, you are a petty ass woman. And yeah, she just made sure that Lalle knew that if she had the pictures and the videos, she would have done worse. So I think that she's actually telling Lalle that, you know what, I would have done the same thing. Don't worry about it. Your reaction is only natural. The next scene is Rocky and Mustafa, and Mustafa's actually telling Rocky that, you know, you need to go to work. You should not be suspicious, and don't worry about it. We'll go through this together. And he's just urging her to be strong. And Rocky was really afraid, really panicked, like, what if I made a mistake? What if Cher is noticing something because I actually broke down in front of him? I panicked and he's gonna be suspicious. And Mustafa was like, you know what, don't feel guilty. Someone as bad as Bakary Sanya is, you know, it's not worth it. And he's just telling her that, you know, for me, music helped a lot, you helped a lot, and I'll always be here for you, us, and whatever is going on with us. And I think that was really sweet, because when you saw him at the beginning of this second season, you'd say that, oh my god, this man, something really happened to him, or Rocky actually did something wrong to him. But now he's really turning around like the old Mustafa that we all know. In the next scene, we see the doctor with Jalika, and he's actually thanking her for coming. And Jalika's like, well, we're actually used to seeing each other outside of the hospital. And yeah, I think that she made a comment about him chasing skirts. So he was like, well, seriously, I'm not, you know, chasing skirts. I'm actually serious and I like your company. And Jalika's actually teasing him, and she's like, well, there's a first time for everything, but I hope that I'm your first and only patient to get all this attention. And then he's actually I think he's asking her a question, and she's like, you know, all this actually taught me that I should be my own priority. And then he's actually asking her like, well, what if we rebuild together? And to that, she's asking the doctor, you know, is there anyone special in your life? And this is where it gets tricky, because he does not answer directly, because he doesn't say that he has a wife, that he's got children. He's just talking about this woman that we learned from his therapist meeting session. And he's actually saying that, you know, there was this woman in my life, and her name is Mimi, and I'm sure that she'd be really proud of me. And yeah, so he's talking about this dead woman that we actually know that, well, we know that he actually has a wife. And he's actually saying that, you know, I would be the best man, or the happiest man in the world if I had married her. And Jalika's actually telling him that, you know, I don't think that I would have survived it if I would have lost, you know, the man of my life. And I'm sure that she's not talking about Biram. And he's actually telling her that, you know what, you don't recover 100%, you just learn how to live with it. And he's actually saying that, you know, when I see you, I actually see her. And she's actually asking him like, are you playing with me? And he's like, no, I'm not playing. And this is so tricky about this situation, because we all remember that Jalika was so mad when she found out that Maîtresse was actually hooking up with her brother-in-law, who was married. And also when she found out that Mommy was actually hooking up with her dad, who was also married. But now the tables have been turned, and now it's Jalika's time to become la maîtresse d'un homme marié, the mistress of a married man. In the next scene, we are following Amsa, and you see Cher, and he's actually telling Amsa that he wants that Maîtresse and Amsa actually go back to the way things used to be. And he actually says that, you know what, I want you to bury everything that happened between you and Maîtresse. And the crazy thing is that Amsa actually does not even know that Maîtresse came back. And that was so sad, because you can also see it in her face and her demeanor that she's actually hurt, because all of this time, you know, she was sending voice messages, voicemails, texts, and everything to know where Maîtresse was and to know how she was doing and everything. So yeah, it really hurts for her to know from Cher that Maîtresse actually came back. And Amsa actually teases Cher, and she's like, oh, so that's why you've been happy, and tell me, where did you sleep last night? And I mean, she just knows what's up. And yeah, I'm really I think that the reason why Cher came to Amsa is because of what Maîtresse's mom told him about her being sexually abused as a younger woman, or as a young girl. And I think that now he understands how and why it is so important for Maîtresse to have someone who has her back the way that Amsa has. In the next scene, you see an altercation or a discussion between Lala and Philly. And Philly is just telling Lala that, you know, don't give Maîtresse any attention. Don't apologize. Don't even acknowledge it. And I think that she is also saying that, you know, if Cher finds out that you are the one that uploaded everything, shit is gonna hit the fan. And she's actually even saying that, you know what, Marjane, she's right. You just sit tight and let it all unfold. And Lala's like, your degree of evil, I'm so shocked about it. And she's actually blaming Philly for this. And Philly is like, hey, it was not necessary for you to get into her business. And I think that she means all this effort they went through with the handsome guy named Hamid. And I think that that's what Philly is talking about. Like, it was not up to them to, you know, butt into their affairs, find out the naked pictures, videos, everything. And Lala was like, well, he's my husband and I should not keep this from him, and I'll explain everything. I will ask Mahem for forgiveness, and then everything will be over. And Philly's like looking at her like, that's what you think. I know your husband, but he will never ever forgive you. And Philly is like saying to Lala that, you know, you're actually really crazy. And it's like, well, Sheikh and Mahem, they went out together. They came to your house. They ate here, they drank here, they slept in your bed. Then Sheikh actually had the nerve to marry her. And well, I don't think he's going to forgive you. And that was what their discussion was about. And in the end, I think that Lala still did not know what she was going to do. Whether she was going to tell Sheikh, ask Mahem for forgiveness. And I think that this was really annoying to Philly. That's why she just stood up and she just left. And I think that in this case, I have to be honest, because when you look back at the first season, you can actually see that it was Philly that actually dragged Lala through all of this. Because Lala was the person that said, don't do anything about these pictures, these videos. Let's just, you know, cut it out because we're going too far. But Philly was like, no, you're the first wife. You need to set your foot down. And yeah, so now it's like as if it was all Lala's fault, idea, etc. Dalanda is actually talking to her friend Antja about how she's thinking of surprising Tairu at work and run some errands. And then I think that Ben comes in and she's actually just attacking Dalanda and telling Dalanda that, you know what, you need to mind your own business. We're a family and it's none of your business. Because they were just discussing their other brother, the other episode. And I think that she's coming back to that. And then Dalanda is someone that does not do confrontation. So she's not saying anything. So her friend is actually telling Ben that, you know what, you need to respect this woman, because Ben was just saying that, you know what, you're sitting in this house as if you're the one that paid for it, you know. And Antja, Dalanda's friend, was actually like, no, you need to respect this woman because she is the head of this house, like the head woman of this house. And you just assume that your brother is the one that paid for everything. But I think that those details are not that important. I think it's just about the idea that Ben just comes in and treats her brother's wife that way. So she's actually urging Ben to respect Dalanda in her own house. And I think that Dalanda is just like, you know what, Antja, just stand up, we'll just go. And that's the end of it. So then you have the scene where the business partner is with Sheikh. And I believe that there's an altercation with Biram. And Raki actually takes over the conversation with the partner from Sheikh. And they're just talking about, she's just talking about, you know what, this is our brother, because Cher introduced her like, you know what, this is my little sister, she's married. And the business partner is like, yeah, oh my god, Senegalese women, they're so beautiful, and it's actually a Senegalese woman that stole my heart. And I was thinking, marem, marem, marem. But so Rocky takes over and she's like, you know what, that's our brother, and he's actually an alcoholic, and he takes a lot of substances, so that's why we put him in rehab, which is not even true. And she just, you know, emphasizes that they are a family business and they value family a lot, and that's why they put him in rehab, and that it's so hard for him. And you know, it's yeah, it's just really hard on them as a family as well. And at the end, she's just telling him that, you know what, if this is something that makes you not want to be associated with our company, we totally understand it. And just because of that, the business partner is like, no, I trust you guys completely. Next scene is Tairu and Dalanda, and the girls are actually wondering what happened to their outing. And Dalanda's actually talking to Tairu, and she's like, Tairu, because he's on his phone and he's not paying attention because he's that poor. And Tairu is like, what do you want? And I think that he was just so annoyed by Dalanda, and he was not focused on his children. And Dalanda was more, you know, telling him that, you know what, I'm so used to you ignoring me, so I don't really care about it, but you should not ignore the girls. And at one point, Tairu is like, what do you want from me? And she's like, you know what, I'm not gonna die if you cheat on me. And then he's like, I think he's just saying this to because he thinks it's hurtful, but he's like, yes, I cheat on you. And then she was like, yes, you should, so I can be dramatically jealous and play the role of a jealous wife. And she was actually asking him that, you know, oh, because did you think you was gonna shake up my world by telling me that you're cheating? And she's actually even saying that, you know what, if the other woman thinks that you're the jackpot, then she is so wrong. And then you have the scene where Ben is actually asking Tairu like, what's up? And he's like, nothing. And then she's like, everyone can tell something's up. And then he's actually opening up and he's like, well, Dalanda thinks that I'm cheating. And I think that this sentence actually made Ben see the world differently, because she's like, you should. Yes, you should. Like, she's actually encouraging him. And then she's like, oh, you're so handsome, and I think you need a second wife because this house is too feminine and you should have some sons. And oh my god, I think that this is so typical for Senegalese households, because I think that sisters and moms of husbands usually encourage having a second wife or a third wife just to piss off the first one. In the next scene, you see Biram and Jalika, and Jalika's actually telling Biram that, you know, before he comes at the house, he should actually announce himself. And he's actually going into defense mode, because he's like, well, the kids live here and I have the right to see my kids. And Jalika's like, well, yes, the kids live here, but that does not mean that you can come unannounced. And then he's like, okay. And then he gives her an envelope with money, and she's like, well, I don't need your money now, because where were you when I needed diapers, milk, money for school, money for a babysitter, when I needed to go to the hospital, and for medication? And she just reminds him that she had to beg him for every little thing, and we know this from season 1. And she also reminds him that everyone told her that, you know, you cannot report your children's father to the police because that's not what you do. And she's actually telling him that, you know what, today you're doing all this effort because you're jealous, and you want to support me financially. And she's actually telling him that she thinks it's pathetic. And then he, of course, Biram is once again, you know, going into defense mode, because he's like, well, if you don't want my money, then I don't want any other man to take care of my children. And Jalika just tells him that, you know what, you're so impossible, just go home. And the funny thing is that in this whole scene, you do not even see the kids. And he was supposed to come check on the children, right? And Biram is actually also asking Jalika, like, yeah, and why don't you just give me a second chance? And when you were sick, I was the one who took care of you. I was the one who took care of the kids. And he's even bringing up that marriage is supposed to be, you know, like in life and death. And she was like, so now you remember you got 2 kids, and that's why you think that you have a right to a second chance. And the only thing that Biram has to say, once again defense mode, is the perfect man doesn't exist. And it was so annoying to see this scene, because Biram needs to understand that you do things in life because you have to do them and you want to do them, not because you expect something in return, you know, because he's holding the fact that he took care of Jalika and his own kids above Jalika's head just because he wants a second chance and because he wants to show that he has changed. But that's not even what it's about. I mean, all the things that he's doing now are like the basic requirements of being like a baby daddy or like a father. So, and that really makes me so mad. Like, I cannot understand how Jalika can still talk face to face to Biram, because I would not even be able to see him. I would not even want, I would want to undo him as the father of my children, honestly. So the next scene is once again Mère Diagne, Biram, and our beloved Cher. And Mère Diagne is actually asking Cher to divorce Marem, and he's like begging him to do this because she does not want Lala to get into an instant giving birth instantly, because I think that this weighs so much on her as well. And she's actually telling her son that, you know what, I'm not negotiating with her, just divorce her. And of course Cher is like, well, I'm not going to divorce her today, I'm not going to divorce her tomorrow, and I'm not afraid of you. And then Mère Diagne is like, is she that important to you? Like, is she more important to you than the company? And your dad has worked so hard for this company, for your futures, and I think that he would turn in his grave to know that you're doing this for a hoe. And then of course Biram is like, I mean Cher is like, are you guys going to set me up? Is this an intervention? And Biram and his mom are like, yes, and we don't care what you do about it. We do not want this woman. And Biram is even saying that, you know what, just give her money and she'll go back to where she came from. And Cher is like, this is not about money for me. It's not about the image of the company either. It's about my feelings. And of course Biram and his mom laugh about this, because of course they don't understand what it means to, you know, be in Cher's shoes and what he's feeling and what it's really about. So yeah, Cher is like, you know what, just leave me alone. I'll take care of my wives, I'll take care of my children. And of course the others are like, well, you cannot do anything about our secret plan, so just be prepared that something's happening. And the last scene of episode 8 is, of course, Maîtresse and Cher, where it all began and where it will end. And okay, so he was just telling Maîtresse that, you know what, if I did not have a meeting today with the partner, I would not leave you. And he's even, you know, telling her that, you know what, maybe I should even retire so I can take care of you. And he's also asking her that, you know, did my mom come? And Maîtresse was like, yeah, she came, she insulted me, but I managed. Also known as I insulted her back. And this is something that really shocked Cher, because he was like, whoa, do you hear yourself? You're talking about my mom. And of course Maîtresse is like, well, I'm someone's daughter, I'm someone's wife, your family should respect me. And I think that Cher really understood this, because he was like, well, we actually need peace. You know, they should not have to go back and forth between the families, like Maîtresse versus Lala versus the family versus the brother versus the mom. Like, all of that should not even exist. They just need peace. And Maîtresse was like, well, I want peace. I'm only here for peace. But people also need to leave you at peace. And Cher was like, I don't want no problems. And of course Maîtresse is like, well, I don't want problems either, and I just want to be with you. And your family needs to know that I'm not married to her, and I'm married to you. And Biram actually let me know that Lala is pregnant. And yeah, so she was actually urging Cher to, you know what, you need to not to clean house, but to have his house on order, because it's a real mess. And she also told Cher that, you know what, Lala is the one that spread the videos and the pictures. But of course Cher is so defensive, because he cannot see that it was Lala who was the one that published everything. And he was like, no, it was not Lala, I don't believe that. And of course Maîtresse was like, the lion is back. And she was like, I'm not done. Everyone who is against me will get it, and I'm not gonna leave any, you know, leave unturned, or, you know. So her point was mostly that if someone is going to say something to her, she's gonna say something back. If someone's going to insult her, may it be his mom, she will insult the mom back. And I think this was just like a warning. So again, Cher got so defensive, and he was saying that, you know what, good people don't start trouble, talking about Lala. And Maîtresse was like, well, you don't know her that well, that's why you're saying this. And he just couldn't understand that Lala would ruin someone. And he was just saying that, Maîtresse, you're wrong. And the only thing that Maîtresse said was that, you know what, you need to take responsibility. And I fought to be married to you. I fought for my to be on a honeymoon with you. And if you cannot fight for me the way I fought for us and myself, I want you to divorce me. And of course, Cher is in shock. Thank you guys for watching. This was season 2 episode 9, and I cannot wait for episode 10, because I definitely want to know how things are going to continue between the Dr. Angelica, whether she's going to be able to get rid of Biram, and of course I want to know whether Biram is going to understand that most of the things that he's doing now as he sees as extra effort are actually basic tasks of former husband, loved one slash father. And also I want to know how the love triangle is going to continue, because is Cher going to be able to manage between Lalle and Marem? And of course, how is the first meeting between Lalle and Marem going to be like? And I only hope that Lalle is gonna give birth to a healthy boy when the boy is due and not before it's due. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, you can check the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I see you guys in my next episode.